Good afternoon, boys. Let us start discussing our second assignment, your impression text. I will teach you the texts whichever are in your syllabus for the revision test. And among these, the first ones your teacher has already completed in your first monthly syllabus. So now, for this time, I will teach you three texts, the poem Owl and two prose pieces. The first one is A Girl Called Anna, and the next one is In Times of Adversity. Now let us start with the poem The Owl. The poem The Owl has been written by the poet Edward Thomas. He is famously known as a war poet. Now, what do you mean by the term war poet? War poets are the poets who wrote the poems on the various aspects of the war, and most of them have exposed the cruelty, the horror, and the merciless acts of war. And they have also exposed the fact that soldiers are often glorified to be martyrs, but actually they are in a secret way sent to the battlefields to sacrifice their life to serve the purpose or the intention of some political warmongers. So among the war poets, Edward Thomas is one of them. But the most notable war poets in English literature are Wilfred Owen and Siegfried Sassoon. They wrote poems extensively on war. That was the First World War of their lifetime. And another aspects of the war poets were that sometimes most of them were soldiers themselves. That means they had the first-hand experience of war. They know actually what war was or what war is or what war would be. So they have no falsified notion of the war. All of them knew that the war is a merciless killing of human life. So though they were soldiers, but basically all of them hated war. So here in this poem, The Owl, we will see how the feelings of a poet, how the feelings of a soldier who have just returned from the war field was pain in his heart to see the sufferings of the poor people and the other soldiers who are forced to be there outside in the night, those who have no scope to lead a peaceful life. And the poem, the title of the poem, The Owl, is quite symbolic in nature. Here, the owl represents some things. After reading out of the poem, I would like you to explain the what symbols or for what suggestion is given by the night creature, the owl. Now let us read the poem. The Owl. Downhill I came hungry, and yet not starved. Cold, yet had heat within me that was proof against the north wind. Tired, yet so that rest had seemed the sweetest thing under a roof. Then at the inn I had food, fire, and rest. Knowing how hungry, cold, and tired was I, all of the night was quite buried out, except an owl's cry, a most melancholy cry, shaken out long and clear upon the hill, no merry note, nor cause of merriment, but one telling me plain what I escaped, and others could not. That night, as in I went, and salted was my food and my repose, salted and sober too, by the bird's voice, speaking for all who lay under the stars, soldiers and poor, unable to rejoice. Just after listening the poem, or if you go through reading this poem, you can feel that the tone of the poem is very soft, sad, and melancholy one, just representing the theme of this poem. Now come to line by line explanation of this poem. The first line, downhill I came hungry and yet not starved. Here the poet wants to say that a soldier, after battling a whole long day on the hill, just with the falling of the evening or just with the sunset, the soldier is coming down the hill. So the word downhill is here. And the soldier has come hungry yet not starved. That means as per the whole day the person was busy in the battlefield. He had no scope to fill up his stomach. But if he had the scope, he could fill up the stomach. But he is not starved. So now we must know what is the difference between hungry and starved. In case of hungry, you are without food, but it is often a choice. If you have time, if you may have scope, you can fill up your belly. But in case of starving, you have no option to eat. You have nothing to eat. That is a forceful condition. No choice is there. So the soldier wants to mean that he was without food, but it was a choice, a compulsion. If he had wished, he would surely now get food. So I think it is clear the difference between hungriness and starving. Now second line, cold yet within me that was proof. Cold as the night was coming and the hilly area, the air was blowing in a cold breeze, in a cold manner, and because of this cold breeze, the person is feeling cold outside. But there is heat within, that is, his blood is hot, he is returning from the battle, still he is arrived. Actually, it is the fate of a soldier to be died in the battlefield, but the heat within the soldier here proves that he is still alive because the blood is circulating within him. Therefore, it gives to him the heat necessary for living or necessary to be alive. So in the outside weather is cold, he is feeling cold, but within him there is the hot situations there. Now wait for the second video.